I mean, like some of like the old generation, so like colors, like they said that the new ones were starting to like agree more with like blacks and stuff, but like how like the old colors and stuff like learned to like hate the fact that they were part black, like that was
black half.
Yeah, to like hate the blood.
Yeah, I think that's true. I mean, I think that would be a really terrible position to be in, to be like in that society and not sure where you were put.
Johanna's grandmother is off working, and so
Does anybody else have a quote that they want to?
I guess something that I found interesting in this section, also a key part was when the dad had to ask the son for money.
Oh yeah, I have a quote about that.
Yeah, about bus fare. So the quote I wrote down was, at that moment I had more money in my pocket than his net worth, and I wasn't going to give him a penny of it, even if he were to fall to his knees and beg me. So I thought this was very interesting, kind of showing, like, not really the collapse of the family, but just the collapse of the relationship between the father and the son.
Hierarchy.
Exactly, you kind of see how, like, even like usually in a family, the son and the dad, even though like I kind of maybe this is the thing that we talked about earlier, how the son kind of wants to kill the dad, but then eventually have sleep with the mother. Kind of interesting because
like an extreme
exactly. So it's you kind of see that right now how he has this great relationship with his mom, but his dad and him are like rivals trying to support the family. So the question I had for that was, how demoralizing do you think it would be for the father to ask his son for money, so the son to be kind of like a supporting figure economically, and also how does that affect the family as a whole, knowing that your father, the person who raised you, no longer can support you? I think that's something that's very kind of...
It's a big deal.
Yeah, it's tragic.
I'm surprised that the father asked him, because like from everything else the father was doing like throughout the book, it seemed like he had so much pride, like he wouldn't give him money for anything, he was like not supporting at all, and then like all of a sudden coming and asking his son for money, because he'd always be like, oh, I don't need your bills, blah, 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 you're asking me, always beating him and everything. So I then figured he would cut to this that he would go and actually ask his own son for money, and like he was pretty much begging for it.
Yeah, well, he's pretty spun out at this point. He's like hungover and he spends all his money on gambling and drinking. So I think there's a couple different things going on here. Like you can talk about, what Max is saying, the relationship between the father and son, and you can also just talk about what's happening to the father here. Like, what do you think would have to happen to a person for them to reach a point where they're asking their 14-year-old son for bus fare?
Yeah, it's just like, I don't know, you kind of, and I think that's something that's important now, is he no longer can kind of use that fatherly figure, that high, adult stature to intimidate his son, so intimidation is no longer a factor, so the dad himself is like slowly just like digging himself in a hole where he's no longer loved by the people he lives with, and he can't afford anything, he's not really supporting anyone, and he's just like in this lull. And he attempts to like intimidate Johannes into giving him the money, but it's just unsuccessful. So I think we just kind of see the father X'd out a little bit of how, like the sage. I think kind of like the page ended like part 3 of the book. So I think that's ended like as we entered in the new part. Like this dad is slowly fading from how his childhood's going, because he doesn't care about the education. He thinks it's BS. He beats his wife and says cruel things to her, and he's no longer really around the family in the house, so I think, we see him kind of X'd out of the situation.
I have a quote that we might be able to talk about with that, kind of right after Max's. It soon became evident that my father lived for the moment because he was terrified of the future, terrified of facing the reality that I was on the way to becoming a somebody in a world that had stripped him of his, in a world that regarded him as a nobody, that had stripped him of his manhood, his power to provide.
It's very strong words coming from the son too.
Yeah. Kind of arrogant.
But I think it shows how absolutely little, probably no respect Johannes has for his dad at this point. There is really no good thing to say about him. When the business failed, he stopped saving his paycheck to help the mom, so he's kind of using the drive from his father and seeing how unsuccessful he is to push him forward, because he has this person now that he's around, and he sees like, this is something I don't want to become. So.
Yeah, like, I'm better.
Yeah.
Yeah. mean, do you guys think that, this happens, obviously not this extreme at all, but do you think that this happens to some extent with most teenagers, that they see their parents' flaws and...
Or like they don't want to like grow up to be like their parents?
Probably not a lot in Marin, because in such like, I guess like, it's sad to say, but like a lot of the time you base the respect and like how your parents are kind of based on how much money they have, how successful they are in business, which is kind of a sad thing, I guess you could say, because I mean, that's what people base each other off. So like respect and how they treat other people, I guess, isn't seen as highly as, you know, can they bring food on the table and do I go shopping, you know, enough. So I mean, I guess here people think that their parents are successful, but I guess there's also in other places like in like you know, ghettos or hoods around America, if their parents are, you know, selling drugs or something, and you know, it's a similar situation here, just in the 21st century, where the dad is just not around to be supportive.
Yeah, like my brother, my dad, like he didn't go to high school, he barely like went to college, but he's still like okay, like doing okay. And my brother is like always talking about it, like he like doesn't respect him. Like I really don't know why he's always talking about that. And he's also found like he's 21 and he's still like.
Your brother is 21?
He's still not working. He's like, but one day I'm gonna go to college and I'm gonna get a better job than dad. He's like, my dad's always like, because like my brother since like he's 21, he can't get a job. He's not in college. He dropped out of high school. So much. My dad's always like, oh, you should like, so my brother's always like, one day when I like finally do like stop fooling around and being like young in college, I'm gonna get a job and be like so much better than my dad was.
I don't have anything.
Okay. I guess the original thing we talked about, we can always go to a new topic, but I kind of think of it as interesting as what potential does Johannes have if he had like a white person's education at this time? Because even with what he's being taught now, he's still able to succeed at a very high level, getting best marks every single semester or school year. So yeah, in a horrible school with no supplies, no, you know, kind of, you know, basis to work off of. So if he were to have more teachers, more supplies, more books, I think, I just thought, see what other people thought of, you know, where could he go with this? Like, what?
Like, who could he have ended up being? I mean, he's still a really successful guy coming from where he did. So, you know, if he had been more Afrikaner, you know, who might he have ended up?
And it's kind of sad, like how like well he's like doing in this, and like how like his potential and stuff, but like how like basically handicapped he is by going to a black school. Because when he went to Clyde's house, like the Smiths, and like Clyde was like calling him like stupid and stuff because like he couldn't read like the books and stuff. And then and what I found amazing was like he called also A Tale of Two Cities an easy book, which like
I didn't understand any of that.
Bad about myself, but
I noticed that too. It was like, okay.
I didn't understand that part.
It is good, but it's Dickens. It's not like
so it's just like sad, like his potential is being like handicapped.
Yeah.
Where he grew up.
But do you guys think, I mean, he's kind of a social activist, like, to write a book like this is a really big deal, and he kind of unveiled a lot about apartheid. Do you think that he would have had that same, like, want to change the world if he had not had such a crap childhood? Not at all.
Maybe not. I think, yeah. I think what he...
Like, I feel like the only reason, like, he's doing so well in school is because, like, okay, like, he's not, like, going all the time to when he was like, he's like, oh, I want to, like, be like this one day. And I was like, his father always, like, was strong. It just gave all that, like, contributed to his ambition to just want to do well. And, like, I don't know why, but the other kids at school don't seem to have.
Yeah, well, I think that for him, like, education is a ticket out. So,
Yeah.
somebody just whistle.
That's what his mother was always saying, too.
Yeah.
I also feel like getting an education is also like to spite his father.
Yeah,
Kind of is.
Like how he liked to side with his like mom and stuff, and then when his mom pointed out the fact that like his dad didn't like get an education too, and then he's like
Oh,
said
yeah,
like
when he
right
promised-
then and like then he's like mind changed about education and
Yeah,
stuff,
well,
like, and
he
he's
promised
willing
to
to
go to school after the dad beat the mom, because that's when he promised to all go there forever.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of interesting because it's like almost ironic because like here people try to be like rebels by cutting school and by not doing well, and because doing well is the norm, and here he's being a rebel by doing his homework. It's kind of an ironic dynamic.
And how he like dropped out of his game. I thought that was like a really smart choice.
It's really brave.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very.
Because I mean, that's not like little boys playing. Like that was guns and knives. He very well could
From
have
the
died.
kid's eye got popped out by a.
Oh God, that was nasty.
By the rock.
Yeah.
And he realized that could have been him, and like
That's
You.
when he decided
What?
to stop. That's when he decided to stop.
yeah.
The gang thing is interesting. If you dropped out of that. Why do you think the gangs rose up in the first place? Like, what do you think about Alexandria made it such a right place to have all these youth gangs?
I mean, I think a big part of it is like unity and stuff. Like a bunch of these kids are like looking for something to be a part of and stuff. Like they don't have like sports teams there and stuff. Like a lot of them like have like abusive parents and stuff. So like
Yeah.
they basically form their own families. And, like they like survive by like stealing food and like competing with other like rival gangs for like territory and stuff. So
Yeah.
It's kind of like here we have the opportunity to be part of plays or sports teams or whatever, and that's not something that's available there.
Same with gangs in America, because I was at this one place and some guy who used to be a gang member came to talk, and he was like,
He's like a guest speaker or something.
yeah, and like I think he like lost his brother, and that's why he like quit or whatever. But like he was talking about how he like moved from Guatemala or something, and like he came here and like everything was so different. He wanted to like find like another like family again, which is why he started joining gangs.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting how when he's with the white family, how he first learns like the apartheid, like the true meaning and like the true kind of motives of the white people. So I think kind of like a question I had was like, how do you think that like would affect you in that situation? Just realizing like how exiled you are from a whole different race. Because like from before that point, he had just been like he just had this hatred for how they were treated, not really the actual mentality of the white people. So to kind of hear that, like how would you respond in a similar situation, knowing that there are truly people who not only hate you, but like they don't want your existence like around them, and they feel you're like a disease, like a bacteria.
That really sucks.
Yeah, it does.
Really?
There's nothing to say. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It sucks. There's nothing behind it. When I think about it.
But how like would you be able to like move forward in life if like you knew that?
How would you respond?
Yeah.
I believe he's using the education. Like that's the only thing that like is close enough to like escape.
Yeah.
Like she said, the ticket.
So that could like lead. That's like another thing I was thinking. Like education used as like like hope. You know, like what like we've discussed this in previous things. For like truly like how powerful could education be as like a tool to get you through things to like.
Again, and that also it's that thing where where we have education so available here, we kind of take it for granted, and there it literally was, it changed his life, and I think that's really powerful.
And start reading the homework, please. But you can go for the remainder of the period if you want. You can stop whenever you want at this point. Make sure everybody has a chance to
Has everybody served up their quote? So
Would you like? Are you all good, Natalie? For sure.
Yay!
Also, I also think that the education is like, how like in our group yesterday we were talking, and I'm sure you guys just did too, like when he was talking about like how he wanted to kill himself and stuff.
Yeah, that
We
was,
like really
that
thought
was
like
our whole conversation.
it's like they like kind of like realize that they have like nothing there, and like they have like abusive families, like they don't have like money and stuff, and I think education just gives them hope. It's like something to like clinch onto and stuff. It's like really all they have besides for like family and stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
That's all I wanted to add.
Okay, Ron, dude. Yay! Hey, Gabe, let me get that.